Okay, so in last week's video, we talked through some of the different free resources that you guys have access to if you want to track down some photos on a site, some old historical photos. Now, in editing that video, I was going back checking some of the links that I'd referred you guys to, so some of the previous videos. And I realized the video that I referred you guys to for the QImagery website was a good 5, if not 6 years old. I was like, damn, we need to redo that video and update that video. So that's exactly what we're going to do this week. I want to reintroduce, or if you haven't come across it before, introduce you guys to QImagery. So we're going to look at what it is, how to access it, some basic tips for navigating around it, all of that sort of stuff. So let's jump behind the computer and let's do this. Okay, first things first, what on earth is QImagery? Long story short, it's a website that contains a bucket load of old aerial photos. I'm talking from roughly 2017 way back often to 1936. Now, how do you access QImagery? Quite simply, you go to Google, type in QImagery, and it's the very first link there. Now, when you load this page, you will get a prompt that asks you to accept the terms and conditions. I've accessed the website already today, so I'm not getting that prompt. But obviously, if you're happy to do so, accept the terms and conditions, hit go. Now, once you've done that, you land on this sort of page here. You need to come up to the search bar, click on address, and type in the address. Now, 2 little tips or hints here. If you're actually typing the address and you make a typo, so let's say I go like this instead of George Street, if you go back, it's just going to wig out. It does not like it in my experience. So what I find I have to do in this sort of situation is reset, start again, go through the address function again, and start over. So yeah, for some reason, if you have to go backspace, it just does not like it. So let's make sure I get it right correct this time. So George Street. Next thing, I screwed it. Let's start again. Oh, the pressure's on. Okay, the next thing, while I redo this, actually, let me just focus on one thing at a time. George Street, Brisbane. Now, the next thing you'll find, which you would have just seen there, is often you don't get the options pre-populating down the bottom. So those of you that, like me, are used to using Brisbane City Council's interactive mapping, you know, as you're typing the address, it pre-populates suggested options, which kind of is like a validator. It's a confidence booster. It tells you you're on the right track. You normally won't get that option here. Sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. So just ignore that. Don't think you've typed the address in wrong. I've been subject to that or victim to that so many times where I'm like, it's not pre-populating. I must have the wrong site address. So yeah, don't worry about that. So what you do is type the address in and click on the property in question. Now, what you can do here is go advanced options and filter the time period you want to look at. I wouldn't waste my time with that. I just come up here and hit search. And it's going to come up with a bucket load of different aerial photos. Now, in this situation, we've got photos ranging from 2017 back to 1946. However, here's an example that I prepared earlier. I searched my local post office because I know a Red Hill actually goes back to that 1936 one. So let's go search. And if all goes to plan, boom, there is the 1936 aerial photo down the bottom. Now, one thing first up front I need to say is don't get too excited. There are a bucket load of aerial photos here, and naturally people are going to see that and go, great, treasure trove of information. I'd suggest maybe 80, if not 90% of these photos are just absolute duds. So 2 things you need to keep in mind. First and foremost, planes, they often go through clouds. When they go through clouds, it blurs the vision. So that's the first issue you're going to face or come across every now and then. But more importantly, what you'll find is the purpose or the reason for sending the planes up and taking these photos often has absolutely no connection or relevance to your street or your site that you're looking at. So they might be mapping a freeway, or they might be mapping some sort of flooding or something in the local area. So they're going to focus the resolution or improving the resolution in those locations and just happen to pick up the property you're looking at on the side. So yeah, 89% of the time you'll find that these aerial photos, when you bring them up, they're just too blurry. They're absolutely no use to you. But there is some gems in there if you have the patience to wade your way through. So what you do is I always just start with the bottom or start with the earliest time period that I think could be relevant to whatever I'm looking at. And actually, I probably should clarify, why do I use this? I use this when I'm trying to date a house or date a component of a house. So I jump between each one of those photos and see when does it go from not being there to being there. And it could be something like a carport or a rear deck or something like that. So I'm going through trying to find the earliest clear photo where that structure or that component is not visible, and then the next clear aerial photo where it is visible, and that gives me a date range to be able to work with. So yeah, we'll come down here. You're going to go to in this situation, I'm going to go 1936 aerial photo, click on it, and you'll see in this scenario there are 2 frames. Now, if you hover the mouse over, you'll see that red rectangle or square is changing on the screen. That, in theory, is the outline of each frame. So as you'll see in this situation, the two aerial photos both cover the site in question, the Red Hill Post Office. So what you do is you basically click on the view button, wait for it to load, and there you go. Now, next thing, this little green marker here, in this situation, it's actually pretty darn close, but most of the time, just never aligns with the actual site. So disregard it, don't get fixated on that. Sometimes you'll even find these aerial photos, they're rotated like 90 degrees or 180 degrees. But yeah, basically things have gone awry, I should say. So little tip here, what I do is I always look for landmarks. So in this situation, I know we've got a V, a very clear V shape in the road network there. We've got the Victoria Park over here. And then as we go along, the next V shape is what I'm looking for in the roads. So when it comes to looking at these photos, I'm going to be looking for those two V's and I'm going to be working from there. So there is the first V, and then I come up here and here's the second V. And like I said, rare situation, the green dot is actually in a similar location to the actual site. So what have I talked through? I've talked through how to click on it, how to find the site. Next thing is probably raster images. So if you find an aerial image that you think is a good one and it's the one you're looking for, what you can actually do is click on the download button and download the raster image. That gives you a higher resolution, better quality version of the photo to look at. So I found sometimes something that I think is there, but I can't be 100% sure. Once I've downloaded the raster image, it's nice and clear for me there. Now, what else can I tell you? I wrote a little cheat sheet of things to make sure I didn't miss anything. So let me check my cheat sheet. How to access it, searching quirks, duds, green marker. Oh, turn off layers. I forgot to talk about that. When you're going through each one of these, let me just get rid of the raster thing. When you're going through, make sure you turn off the layer before you progress to the next layer to turn it on. Otherwise, you'll end up with this annoying overlay of images. You won't know what's what. It's just a pain in the backside. We've talked through the raster. That was it. So, final thing I want to say is if any of you guys have more experience with using QImagery and you've found some quirks to it or some parts or tools that we haven't explored, like I don't think there's much more to do with this sort of site, but maybe you prove me wrong. Maybe you'll find some tips and tricks. I love it if you can comment below so that we can all benefit from it. Okay, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about this week. As I always like to say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.